Right now, 3,000 ships and 20,000 crew members are sitting dead in the water in the Middle East. They are trapped in a maritime purgatory, waiting for a curtain to drop on a play that refuses to end. Before the standoff, the Strait of Hormuz saw hundreds of supertankers pass through every single day. Today, the water is quiet. The cause of this massive gridlock is ostensibly a military blockade enforced by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. But look at how this supposed threat actually operates. Iranian forces are randomly demanding cryptocurrency as a toll fee to pass. They are loudly barking warnings over the radio, while meticulously allowing exactly 12 ships to squeeze through each day. Resorting to these crypto shakedowns and micromanaged ship counts is what He Pin calls the spoiled acting of a regime on the edge of ruin. It is an ambiguous posture. They lack the strength to truly shut the strait, yet they refuse to step aside. This is the behavior of a government that can no longer afford the war it keeps threatening to start. Washington's response to this crisis strips away any illusion of military grandeur. Donald Trump proposed treating the waterway like a joint venture. His idea? Partner with Iran, build a physical toll booth, and split the profits. Secretary of State Marco Rubio stands at a podium and calls the blockade highway robbery. Meanwhile, the administration is calculating how to get a cut of the extortion money. At 10 a.m. today, the U.S. military executed a policy built on that exact transactional logic. U.S. Central Command issued a highly surgical decree. They are blockading Iranian ports and coastal regions. They are explicitly not closing the Strait of Hormuz itself. Iran claims to be fighting imperialism. The U.S. claims to be protecting freedom of navigation. Take off the ideological masks, and you find two strong men standing in the same ocean, arguing over the rights to a cash register. But the vast cargo baking in the sun right now doesn't belong to the people fighting over it. The true financial anchor in the Middle East lies thousands of miles to the east. This chart compares the total 2024 Middle East trade volumes of the United States and China. Look at the immense disparity. China's regional trade hits $317 billion. That is nearly 4 times the total volume of U.S. trade in the region. We can see exactly where that capital sits. Since 2005, Beijing has sunk $269 billion into the region, $82 billion in Saudi Arabia, $48 billion in the UAE, and $25 billion locked inside Iran itself. With hundreds of billions paralyzed by the blockade, you might expect Beijing to issue threats or dispatch fleets. Instead, they do nothing. Analyst He Pin calls this strategy quiet qigong, a deeply intentional, calculated stillness. Beijing refuses to engage because they know military blockades are economically suicidal. Total isolation destroys the host country. China doesn't need to fire a single weapon. They just have to wait for the aggressors to run out of money. The modern media cycle cannot process this kind of patience. Commentators demand constant action. They condemn politicians for fighting and then mock them for signing ceasefires the next day. The coverage traps the public in a loop of emotional reactions instead of critical thought. Let's play out the media's favored scenario. Say the US and Iran drop the postering and launch a full war. Nuclear facilities are bombed. The commanders in Tehran are killed. Does any of that actually solve the underlying political instability? We already have the answer. Look at Russia and Ukraine. 3 years into the fighting, immense wealth has been incinerated. Entire cities are leveled, and Europe is still footing the bill. The core geopolitical problems remain entirely unsolved. This illustrates He Pin's point. Violence is a clumsy tool for solving political problems. After 3 years of mounting costs in Ukraine, the original objectives remain out of reach. The cost of this level of destruction is simply beginning to outweigh any possible strategic gain. Both the Iranian crypto tolls and the American port targeting response treat these waters as a private resource. They are both using a shared global shipping lane to pursue narrow, partisan leverage at the expense of everyone else. This waterway does not exist for strongmen to issue declarations. It exists for the 20,000 sailors trapped on those decks who just want to feel dry land. It exists for the working families worldwide who pay the immediate price when supply chains freeze. The Strait of Hormuz will eventually reopen. It won't happen through a brilliant tactical strike, but because the cold, immense pressure of the global economy will simply force the gates back open.